So for this week's sprint, I was focusing on continuing the work I've done for the past couple of sprints with the Google API. One of the first things I did was being able to get the accurate ratings from Google Places and render them onto the screen here. So you can see here, this is all like accurate ratings of the places. It has a little bug where obviously you can see it takes a really long time to render, but I'm going to be hopefully working on that soon to fix that error. So yeah, that's the first feature I worked on. The second thing I worked on was giving the Google Places API functionality into the actual plan screen. So if you click here, it actually works now. Before it was just all hard coded in. So like Thai food or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, those are the only working features I have for this sprint. If we look at my commits, yeah, just basically adding dynamic rating to activities and cards. Yeah, I forgot to show you, but it also shows in the actual, oops, sorry. It shows in this as well. It'll take a while to load, but yeah. Adding activity type to the activity screen, which means just having the museum thing here. And if you do like, I don't know, tacos, again, it'll show meal takeaway, which is just a weird word for restaurant. Still working on how to basically render this into readable form rather than just like coding naming dimensions. Yeah, and so adding search functionality onto the new activity screen and then redirecting the activities to back to the screen or to the activity screen, which was actually a change in the future, but I'll show you what it is. So adding dynamic ratings to activity card, I basically just pulled in a library and I was able to just pull in the ratings. Yeah, just loading in the ratings from the JSON object, changing some terms here. Adding activity type to the activity screen, pretty self-explanatory. It comes in as a list in the JSON, so I basically but the first element of the list is the most accurate description of the location, and so I just basically pulled from that and rendered it there. And then adding search functionality to the new activity screen. Yeah, basically the same kind of stuff where I get like the current location and I set it, and then I search through that. It's the same things that I showed last time. So I'm not going to go too much in depth. I just had to adjust some things. It actually took a while to get it working on this specific screen just because the people who coded the discovery screen and the add new activity screen were different, and so they kind of structured it a little differently, and so I had to adjust accordingly. So yeah, handle search change, just basically making the API call right here. Yeah, just rendering it in flat list. I have a check to see if the API actually worked, and if not, I have all the hard-coded things in there. Redirecting to activity screen. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. On card press, you're supposed to basically, well, initially I coded it so it redirects to the activity screen, which was this, but we actually changed it in develop just because when you click on this, you don't, let's go back to another plan. When you click on like an activity, if I click on this, it would take me to the Taco Bell activity screen, but we changed it so it actually directs back to the plan because that makes sense in the user flow. Yeah. So basically those were all the commits that made it to develop. Oops. I did a lot of other things, but basically I wasn't able to commit it just because there was a lot of things still working in progress. For example, like the changing the search by adjusting locations, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. There's a lot of more technical complexity to it than I initially thought, and so I kind of hacked away at that, but it didn't work fully. Then another thing I worked on is filtering from tags. I was struggling with the API calls and the way that Google set up their API, and so yeah, there's no progress made quite yet on that, but I'm still working on it. There's some progress, but it's not demoable. Um, and so basically for the next sprint, kind of continuing off of that, I'm going to be basically working on the same things I was working on for the last sprint. So oh, and I also, sorry, I forgot to mention, I was working on infinite scrolling because I got a little distracted and frustrated with the location change. So I started another project, which took a lot longer than I thought. And so I kind of overloaded myself this sprint, starting a lot of little different things and getting stuck and just kind of jumping back and forth. So that's why I don't have that much to demo. But yeah, so for next week, I'm going to be focusing more on one project than 4 projects like I did the last sprint. Which wasn't very smart of me, using my time and resources. So I'm going to be really tuning in on focusing on the location-based search and changing those locations. So basically these two, just because that's what makes the most sense. It's the most important thing for our MVP, and so we want to make sure that you're able to change locations rather than just search where you are. And then if I have time, I will work on doing the filtering from tags. And then if I have more time, which I most likely won't, I'll work on getting that infinite scrolling done. And yeah, that's about it for this sprint.